Employee rights and sexual harassment. At-will employment. At-will employment is a legal concept that allows employers to terminate employees for any reason or no reason at all, with or without notice. While at-will employment is legal in the United States and many other countries, it has also been the subject of significant ethical debate. On one hand, supporters of at-will employment argue that it promotes flexibility and efficiency in the labor market, allowing employers to make decisions quickly and easily in response to changing business needs. Additionally, at-will employment is seen as promoting individual freedom and autonomy, allowing employees to leave a job at any time if they feel it is not a good fit. However, opponents of at-will employment argue that it can lead to exploitative and unethical practices, particularly in cases where employees are terminated for discriminatory or retaliatory reasons. For example, an employer could terminate an employee for reporting harassment or discrimination without any legal recourse for the employee. Moreover, at-will employment can create power imbalances between employers and employees, particularly in cases where employees have limited bargaining power or are in vulnerable positions. In such cases, employees may be forced to accept unfair or exploitative working conditions or risk losing their job without any legal protections. To address these concerns, some jurisdictions have implemented laws and regulations to protect employees from unjust termination and retaliation. These may include protections for whistleblowers, anti-discrimination laws, and other legal safeguards. Additionally, some companies have implemented ethical policies and practices to promote fair and equitable treatment of employees, even in cases where at-will employment is legally permitted. These may include employee grievance procedures, ethical codes of conduct, and other mechanisms to ensure that employees are treated with respect and dignity. Employee monitoring. Employee monitoring refers to the practice of using technology or other methods to monitor and track employees' activities in the workplace. This may include monitoring employees' computer use, internet activity, phone calls, and even physical movements within the workplace. While employee monitoring can be useful for legitimate purposes, such as improving productivity, ensuring compliance with company policies and legal requirements, and detecting and preventing illegal activities such as theft or fraud, it also raises a number of ethical issues. One major concern with employee monitoring is the potential violation of privacy. Employees may feel uncomfortable or violated if they are aware that their employer is monitoring their every move and may feel that their privacy rights are being violated. Additionally, employee monitoring can create a culture of distrust between employers and employees, with employees feeling that their employer does not trust them to perform their jobs properly without constant surveillance. This can harm employee morale and lead to decreased job satisfaction and productivity. Another ethical concern related to employee monitoring is the potential for discrimination or bias. For example, if monitoring is used to identify employees who are less productive or less efficient than their peers, it could be used to unfairly target certain employees based on their race, gender, or other protected characteristics. Moreover, employee monitoring can also have unintended consequences, such as creating a false sense of security or failing to prevent the very behaviors it is intended to address. For example, monitoring employees' computer use may not prevent them from engaging in inappropriate behavior on their personal devices, or may lead them to take measures to evade monitoring. To address these concerns, it is important for employers to carefully consider the ethical implications of employee monitoring and to implement policies and practices that balance the need for monitoring with respect for employee privacy and autonomy. This may include implementing clear policies and procedures for monitoring, providing employees with information about the monitoring practices, and ensuring that monitoring is used only for legitimate purposes and is not discriminatory or biased. Additionally, it may be helpful to involve employees in discussions about monitoring and to solicit their feedback and concerns. This can help to foster a culture of trust and transparency in the workplace and promote ethical practices that respect the rights and dignity of employees. Sexual harassment. Workplace sexual harassment refers to unwelcome sexual advances, requests for sexual favors, or other verbal or physical conduct of a sexual nature that creates a hostile or offensive work environment. Retaliation is another problem which occurs when a company or supervisor cancels a job promotion or recommendation after being rejected in a sexual advance. Ethically dealing with workplace sexual harassment requires a commitment to promoting a workplace culture that values respect, equality, and dignity for all employees. This can involve a number of strategies, including establishing clear policies and procedures for reporting and addressing sexual harassment. Employers should have clear policies and procedures in place for reporting and addressing sexual harassment. These policies should provide employees with a clear understanding of what constitutes sexual harassment, how to report it, and what actions the company will take in response. Encouraging open communication and transparency. Employers should create an environment that encourages open communication and transparency, and that empowers employees to speak up if they experience or witness sexual harassment. This may involve creating channels for anonymous reporting or providing training on how to recognize and respond to sexual harassment. Training employees and managers on preventing and addressing sexual harassment. Employers should provide regular training for employees and managers on preventing and addressing sexual harassment. This training should focus on recognizing and responding to inappropriate behavior, as well as on promoting a workplace culture that values respect and equality. Holding perpetrators accountable. Employers should take swift and appropriate action to hold perpetrators of sexual harassment accountable for their actions. This may involve disciplinary action, termination, or other measures as appropriate. Providing support for victims of sexual harassment. Employers should provide support for victims of sexual harassment, including counseling services and other resources to help them cope with the emotional and psychological impact of harassment.